Hey, if you want to support my channel, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you can tolerate me.
So yesterday, NikkieTutorials, who is a very well-known beauty influencer on this platform, 12.5 million followers, has come out as transgender. And not gonna lie, I thought she was gonna be announcing that she was trans, but going from female to male. And I kind of want to explain why. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think this is the first time that we've seen somebody so mainstream come out as trans after the fact and not announcing any kind of transition or any kind of start to something. She's already transitioned and we didn't know about it. This is so good for the trans community, and I do want to talk about that because it is important and it's something that I want to discuss. But before I can do any of that, we do need to address the really horrible and vile circumstances that caused this video to come to light. From what I've gathered from Nikkie's verbiage and a mixture of some drama videos, ridiculous, that have come out, as well as the comments section, apparently Nikkie was blackmailed into making this video. Not necessarily blackmailed into making it, but she was kind of given an ultimatum: either obviously come out on her own or have someone else do it for her, which, I mean, obviously goes without saying. It's terrible.
Today I am here to share something with you that I've always wanted to share with you one day, but under my own circumstances, and it looks like that chance has been taken away from me.
Blackmailing, regardless of the circumstance, is obviously fundamentally wrong, and it puts someone in such a horrible position. But the fact that we're dealing with something so intimate here, someone's gender identity, their literal identity, is just so hard for me to wrap my head around and to fathom. She mentioned so many times throughout the video how she's feeling so many emotions, so much relief, but also so much anxiety and fear at the same time. I mean, if you have any ounce of empathy and you put yourself in her shoes, it just feels horrible. This reminds me of what happened last year with Bella Thorne. Her phone was hacked and the hackers were threatening her to release these pictures. She went ahead and released them on her own and posted them to her Twitter, just to kind of take her power back and keep that part of her life under her control. The fact that anyone, especially a woman with such a large following, has the sheer courage to do something like this is so commendable. Again, I want to talk about the positives that inevitably will come out of this, but keep in mind the circumstances for this video and the timing and everything. It's not what she wanted it to be, and it's not right, and it's bad.
It is time to let go and be truly free. When I was younger, I was born in the wrong body, which means that I am transgender.
Just hearing this come from someone who's in such a vulnerable position just means so much. She could have easily just come on camera, done a little 3-minute video taking her power back, telling us what she needed to tell us, and leaving it at that. But you can tell she really just wanted to convey that this does not define her, and this will not define her. This is just a part of who she is, which really resonates with me. I live my life in the same way, and I think it's really important to share that.
My mom knew immediately that I either was gonna be gay or a different type of story, and it turned out to be a different type of story.
This, one thing that I have expressed the importance of so many times, is educating people from an outsider's perspective, and I think just people in general who don't have a lot of knowledge on the topic. Gay and transgender can oftentimes be intermixed and kind of put into the same category. Partly it makes sense, and I see why it's happened, because LGBT, I mean, it is obviously grouped together. Even just barely touching on that like she did does so much, not only for the 12.5 million people who follow her, but I mean, let's be real, she's reaching way more people than this. She's currently #1 on the YouTube trending page at the time of filming this video. so many more people are going to see this. Again, it's just so cool. I'm running out of adjectives. It's just really cool that she would take the time to express that, you know, gender and sexuality are not the same thing. You can be gay and trans, you can be one or the other, or you can be none. There's no correlation between the two.
Growing up, I think the number one thing I'm the most thankful for is my mom. Love you, Mom, because she has been there for me since day one. She has always supported me, always accepted me. And that is everything you need as a kid, a parent that understands and listens.
I just can't help but be excited that the way she's expressing herself and the way she's sharing her story here. Not to mention all of the stereotypes that she's crushing. I mean, she's literally killing it. The narrative for transgender people tends to be one of a lot of loneliness, neglect, and abandonment. I too come from not only a really supportive mother, but also a really supportive father. And when I tell people that, most people are completely shocked. To show people how important it is to have a support system like that is so crucial. It shows that yes, there are families and parents who are supportive. Again, she didn't have to do any of this. I'm stressing she could have said as little or as much as she wanted to, but she chose to include part of the background and part of her story. And I just hope she knows how much of a difference she's making.
Just because I know people are gonna ask, yes, I got fully transitioned by the time I was 14. I got my hormones.
Now, I do have to say, obviously, this statement is a little bit problematic. We have to take into account all of the factors, though. Obviously, this video was not planned, nor do I really blame her for this. This part of the narrative, too, is also perpetuated in the media, not only the media, but through the transgender community as well. This narrative and this notion that having SRS, sexual reassignment surgery, does signify a complete or full transition. This is the only thing that I wish was touched on just a bit differently, just stressing the fact that every transition looks different and every transition is unique. Not everyone is going to need sexual reassignment surgery to feel fulfilled. I do want to say though, it's not her responsibility to do that. I'm just sharing my opinion. I'm a firm believer in the fact that just because you are part of a minority does not mean that you have to be an advocate, and you most certainly do not have a responsibility to educate people either. You can do as little or as much as you want. I'm sure she said what she felt she needed to. She even says, I know you guys are going to be asking, so that's why she discloses that. I'm just saying, I think it's sad that she felt like she needed to do that because she knew it was going to come up.
I, at the end of the day, am still Nikki. And nothing changes about that. The number one thing on my channel is my love for makeup. And the reason why the trans part of me never got to the light was because I wanted my channel to be about my art. I wanted my art to do the speaking for me.
For some people, it feels so good to talk about and it feels so good to educate and just let it out, and you want everyone to understand where you're coming from. And I've been in a place like that before too, where I wanted to talk about it and I wanted to bring it up and I felt the need to share. And for other people, you have to understand it just doesn't feel the same way. They don't want to talk about it. I mean, she touches on this really well. You have a lot of resentment, not only for the fact that you were kind of chosen or you ended up with this circumstance, because let's be honest, it's traumatic. It's very glamorized, I think, on the internet to a certain extent. But you have to remember, it's trauma, it's traumatic. It's traumatic to go through an identity crisis, especially at such a young age. It's hurtful and it's painful. Combined with the fact that once you tell someone, no matter what, they're never gonna forget. They're always going to have that in the back of their head now. And whether we want to acknowledge it or not, it does, and whether that's in a big way or a small way, it's always going to play a role in how you're perceived. And that's just the truth. Just based on the way she's handling herself and the way she presented this video, I don't think she's gonna have a problem just continuing the way that she was. I think she expressed herself beautifully, and I hope she can continue what she's doing and for this to have very minimal effect on not only her career, but just her life in general. I mean, this is someone who spends a lot of time online, and I just hope that people can just be supportive, but silently almost, you know. I hope that this isn't something that's like a huge label and a huge discussion. I kind of just hope it, like I said, just kind of flows away. We have to respect the fact that some people do want to live stealth, and some people do live stealth, and some people don't want to talk about it. And even though she states here that she wanted to bring it up eventually, we have no idea when that was supposed to be or when she planned for that to be. This was, like I said, kind of forced upon her, and it breaks my heart that this is a circumstance that she was put in. So I hope that everyone can be respectful of that. That's basically it. Like I said, I didn't plan on uploading or posting anything, but this is something I felt like I wanted to touch on. I wanted to put my own word out there because I'm sure there's going to be lots of videos and reactions and commentary from non-trans individuals. I mean, I wish her nothing but the best. Thank you so much to my patrons who support this channel. You the best. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Unless someone else comes out this week, then I'll be back because I gotta talk about it. But other than that, probably next week. If you didn't see the video I posted a couple days ago, I'm sick. I feel a lot better now. I'm getting over it. But my partner made a huge pot of soup for me. And instead of meat, we replaced that with beans. And I am so gassy. I feel like if I fart right now, it would lift me off my chair. It's kind of fun. It's kind of a good way to lighten up the mood.